So the other day I got a comment on my channel and this guy was saying that he bought 6 shares for $1 a piece and he was so excited that he got started. And the first thing I thought was, I don't really know if you're going to make that much money. But then the second thing I thought was, you know what? He should be excited because at least he's getting started, and that is the key to everything, and that's why I'm making this video today. So in this video, I'm going to quickly cover how to invest in the stock market with only $100 because as we know right now, the stock market has come down a lot. And so I know a lot of you guys are interested in starting investing, and now is a really good time to start doing that, and $100 is a great way to start. Now, I do want you guys to know that I am not a financial advisor by any means, and I am just some guy on the internet. So take this advice for entertainment purposes only, but hopefully you guys can learn something new about investing in the stock market with just a little bit of money. So one of the biggest things when you're starting out investing is you're always going to be wondering how much money do you need to start with. And the reason that I'm going with $100 is because we can all risk that much money. And even if you put it in the stock market and you lost everything, it's going to be okay because it's only $100. Now, if you were investing $500 or $1,000, that's fine. I don't mind you starting with that much money, but I don't want you doing that if you have high interest debt at home. Now, if you have high interest debt, meaning credit cards or personal loans, anything like that, I want you to eliminate all of those debts before you start investing. However, if you only have $100, that's okay. I'm going to break the rule on that because I want you to start investing with just a little bit of money so that you can start learning how to invest. Plus, the other good thing about investing with just $100 is that most brokerages out there are going to allow you to start investing with them with just $100 as a minimum. Now, a lot of them actually start with 0, which is really good because if you just had $1, you could technically start investing with them. But $100 is a really good starting point, and that's not really that hard to get started with all of those different brokerages. Now, before I start talking about everything, I first want to address the main pro and the main con when it comes to investing in the stock market with just $100, because there's really only one good thing and one bad thing that you're going to get out of just $100. So the one good thing about investing in the stock market with just a little bit of money is the fact that you are going to start learning a lot about investing because you got started. Because there's a lot of people out there that want to get started investing, but they never do anything about it. And so that's what I'm trying to get you to do. I'm trying to get you to get off the couch, get on your computer and just invest $100 into the stock market, buy some new shares, and be really excited about it. And hopefully that enthusiasm drives you to learn even more about investing, because that's what I want you to be doing. I want you to learn more about investing, all because you got started. And that is why $100 is the perfect place to start, because that is going to help you start investing the way that you really should be. Now, I got to be honest with you guys, because if you're investing in the stock market with just $100, the true fact of the matter is that you are not going to make very much money. Because if the average stock market return is 10% a year and you put $100 into the stock market, then you are going to make a lousy $10 over an entire 365-day period. And that is not very good considering it's just $10. So that's the truth of the matter, is that you are not going to be making very much money when you're investing with just $100, but that's not the point. The point is that I want you guys to start learning how to invest, because that is the best thing that can happen when you're just starting with a little bit of money. So the main point there is that you're never going to get rich by investing just $100 into the stock market, but you will start learning how to invest, and that is worth a lot of money, because trust me, once you get enthusiastic about it, you're going to start investing more into the stock market, and then you will start making more money. And just to be clear, there is no guarantee that you're ever going to make money investing in the stock market. I'm just going off the averages over the years. So if the averages prove that you can make 10%, then that's probably how it's going to be going into the future. But you never know, because it is always a risk. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you're just getting started investing, the first thing that you're going to have to do is find a brokerage account. And what a brokerage account is it's basically just the shopping center where you can buy and sell different shares of different companies on the stock market. And a lot of them have different pros and cons, and that's why you're going to have to look for a specific brokerage account that's going to work for the type of investing that you want to be doing. There are a ton of different brokerage accounts out there, and they all have different pros and cons, but what I would recommend you guys start with is a brokerage account that doesn't charge any trading fees. And what this means is that whenever you buy a share or you sell a share, you have to pay a trade commission. And I don't want you doing that because there's a lot of brokerages out there that don't charge that fee. And so that's what I would start with. Start with a brokerage account that doesn't charge trading commissions. I recently made a video on the 3 best investing apps that I prefer to use, so I'll link that up here if you guys want to learn more about specific brokerage accounts, but that's not the point of this video, but you can watch that if you want to learn more about them. Now, once you've decided on the brokerage account that you're going to use, the next thing you want to decide is the type of investing that you're going to be doing. And this is very straightforward. You're either going to be doing long-term investing or short-term investing. So just think, do you want to keep your money in for a long time or a short amount of time? And that's pretty much all there is to it. I always recommend long-term investing because statistically that is in your best interest. But if you're talking about only $100 and you just buy a few shares, it really is okay if you just sell them next week and buy some more, because it is a learning curve, and that's the point here. I want you to learn how to invest. And if you're just buying one share and then you're keeping it for 10 years, you're really not going to learn very much. And so that's the point, is that if you just have $100, you can do some short-term investing, but statistically the long-term route is the better and the best route that you can be choosing. Now, if you're just getting started investing, you're probably wondering which companies you should invest in. And that gets pretty techy, but really there's just a couple things you can look at. You can look at companies that are more stable, like Coca-Cola, that have been around for a long time, and they're going to usually pay out a dividend. And what that means is that they'll pay you out a tiny portion of their profits, which is really handy for you as a shareholder. But typically they're not going to grow as fast as some of the other companies, which are considered growth stocks. Now, growth stocks, these are the big ones. These are like Amazon, Netflix, Tesla, all of these different companies that are just going really, really fast in the upward trend. Now, there is risk associated with that. Whereas if you go with another company that's been around for a long time, they're generally pretty stable and a little slower moving. So it's really just the risk you want to be taking. Do you want to take the tortoise route or do you want to take the hare route? And that's really just up to you. Now, eventually you're going to have to make the decision on which companies you specifically want to start investing with. So what I would recommend you do is just stick with the companies that you're familiar with. So for instance, if you like to shop at Walmart or Costco, or you like McDonald's, then just stick with those as your first investments, because you at least know how they operate on the front end for you as a customer. So you can at least go with that. I wouldn't recommend starting out with companies that you know nothing about, because you don't know how they operate. Now, there is some strategy when it comes to just finding different companies based on different statistics, but I would just recommend you stick with companies that you're familiar with. That way you know what you're investing in. And then if you're really not sure who you want to invest with, but you want to start investing in the stock market, you can also go with what are called ETFs, and these are exchange traded funds. And basically what these are is they're just a group of assets, okay? So you can have like the top 500 companies in the United States, and they can all be jumbled up into one ETF, and then you can invest in just that one share. That way you're diversified, meaning you have a lot of different outlets and different companies, and that can be a safer route. And it's also an easier decision because you don't have to base it off individual companies. You can just base it off of the ETF, knowing that you want to go with the top 2,500 companies or the top 500 or whatever the different type of ETF is, and that is a good route to go. So for me personally, I invest in a few different ETFs, and then I also invest in individual companies, but this all depends on what's happening in the market. So for instance, sometimes an ETF might be a better value than an individual company. So if I have the money right then and there, then I'm going to be investing in an ETF, but it all just depends on what my strategy is and what's happening in the current market. Because right now, if you guys are paying attention, this is March of 2020, the market is doing absolutely horrible across the entire stock market. So whether you're looking at different ETFs or individual companies, everybody is low. And they always say buy low, sell high, and that is the best strategy that I can always give you. Problem is, we don't know when the bottom is. We don't know if this low is even going to go lower or it's going to go higher from here. And that's always a guess, and it's always a risk, but that's okay, because as long as you have a long-term approach, you're probably going to be just fine. And also keep in mind that if you find a company out there that sells their shares for, let's say, $7 a piece, and then you find another company that sells their shares at $130 a piece, that doesn't mean that the $7 is a better value than the company at $130. What you want to look at is the actual company and see how they're doing over the last few years. Because just generally speaking, if you look at the track record of that specific company, you can tell if you're buying low or going high just based on their track record. And that's all you have to be doing as a very, very beginner in the stock market. So just remember that the price per share does not indicate whether or not the share is a good value or not. You don't want to be buying shares just because they're cheap and because you can actually afford them. You want to buy shares that are a good investment that you plan on making money on in the future and hopefully the long term. So when it comes to investing, it can get really complicated really fast, and this video is just on the most basic end of investing. So make sure to do your research out there and find different resources to start to learn how to invest. So there's a lot of books out there, there's a lot of different YouTube videos, a lot of different resources that can help you learn how to invest. This video is just about getting started. So start with that $100, start investing, learn how to do it and get more enthusiastic so that you can become an investor that starts doing it for your lifetime rather than just something you never even got started in. Now, if you just found this channel, I'm Jason with Honest Finance, and I make a lot of videos on different topics that'll give your life and your finances more value. So if you do have an interest in this type of content, feel free to subscribe. But for now, I'm going to leave the video on the 3 best investing apps that you guys can watch. That way you can learn which brokerage you want to start investing with. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.